Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks once again for streaming with us today. I'm Tom Haines. Welcome to the 3 p.m. hour of Fox Local here. We're live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom with lots of news to get to today, including a big engagement to tell you about. Can you guess what I'm talking about? Probably at this point, right? But we begin our coverage today in Carroll County. All eyes are on the jury who's deliberating right now in the trial of the mayor of Buckhannon, A.J. Scott. He's on trial for killing two teenagers when he was a Georgia State Trooper in a horrific car accident. He took the stand in his own defense yesterday, and now the jury has gotten this case. Kevin Stewart has been in court following every detail of this case. Kevin, if convicted here, Scott could go to jail for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. 30 years plus 48 months. A long time. And that is if he's convicted of all his charges. This has been a very rough day listening to closing arguments. I can tell you that the family of Kylie Lindsay, they stepped out of the courtroom when the defense was up because they just couldn't take it. I'm going to take you inside the courtroom. You get a sense of what that was like. A.J. Scott, the defendant, sitting down at the defense table at his defense chair, listening to all of this. He is facing vehicular homicide charges. That's the biggest charge he's facing due to the deaths of the teens, Kylie Lindsay and Isabella Chinchilla, when his trooper car crashed into their car back in September 26, 2015. The prosecution during closing focused on Scott's driving, the excessive speed, the defense directing the jury to the teen driver who survived the wreck, saying that he should have yielded when attempting to turn left. I want you to take a listen to an excerpt of closing arguments this morning.
Intentionally drove his vehicle, while the set of surrounding circumstances rendered the manner in which he drove reckless. It's dark, it's raining, there's a hill crest. The speed limit is 55. The state is not required to prove that the defendant intended to drive recklessly. The state is also not required to prove that he even knew that he was. Which brings us to reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is sometimes a hard thing to put your mind around. It's the doubt of a fair-minded juror honestly seeking the truth. But it is not beyond all doubt. It is not for mathematical certainty.
They tried to prove to you through some questions that his duty was somehow greater driving up that road than anyone else was. That's not true. They have made you believe, and I think it's come out, that he is somehow above the law. He's not. He wasn't. But you know what he is not also? He's not below the law. The law makes us all the same.
The defense has been working to bring up reasonable doubt, create that possibility, that wiggle room. And part of that talked about the alcohol that was found at the crash scene and in the car, and also reminded the jury of an EMS worker who treated the patients at the crash site. And he said that he smelled birthday cake flavored vodka on the driver. But listen to how the prosecution pushed back on that in front of the jury during closing.
A lot of talk about we didn't send blood to the GBI. Want to know why? Because there's no probable cause. The officers never had a legal basis to take Dylan's blood.
Again, so the jury has had this case, working on this case since about 2 o'clock. We haven't heard back from the jury since then, so we're going to continue to monitor developments, see if there are any questions or if there's anything else that happens. Back to you, Tom.
All right, some really compelling closing arguments from both the defense and the prosecution, Kevin. Helpful to remind our listeners and our viewers, this is a case that goes back all the way to 2015 when this happened, some 20 years ago. A.J. Scott, a then state trooper, accused of going 90 miles an hour when he got into this wreck, then became the mayor of Buckhannon, served in the Marines. So it'll be quite remarkable when the jury comes back and he stands up to hear their verdict, as you said, facing decades in prison. his life would dramatically change if that happened, but it's going to be a very poignant moment in court when that verdict comes down.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's obvious that this has been a really difficult time for him. You could see when he was on the stand yesterday how I perceived it to be uncomfortable in that setting. And as I noted, the family of Kylie Lindsay, her grandparents and her mom came out here when that testimony was, I should say, the defense was putting on its part of its closing arguments because it was just too uncomfortable. And this is going to be a big experience for everyone in that courtroom and the town of Buchanan. I actually tried to get in contact with a source to chat to see where things stand in town. He says people are paying attention. And this person said, hey, I'm trying to stay out of it. We're going to let justice take its course. But we understand that obviously if he is convicted, Scott, that the mayor pro tem will step up to the mayor's position. How soon that will happen is unclear. That's what I was trying to get a good sense of. But we're still trying to learn what's the next step should he be convicted. But obviously, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. We don't know how this is going to turn out. Of course, the first trial, 7 years ago, ended in a mistrial. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. All right. You're on verdict watch there in Carroll County. Kevin Stewart monitoring the proceedings there with the jury who's out deliberating this case. And as you said, you can imagine how upset the family is. They just want closure after 20 years of waiting. We're going to take you to Villa Rica right now, where a massive fire tore through a home in the overnight hours. This left one person dead. The home is a lost cause here, we understand, partially collapsed. Kim Luffler is in Villa Rica, covering what happened. Kim, this fire broke out in the early morning hours. Obviously a devastating situation for those who lived inside. Do we know what happened here?
Well, Tom, we know a woman is dead and a man is in the hospital as a result of this fire. It's hard to see because the house is a little tucked away from the roadway here. But as you mentioned, the structure is a total loss. But you can get a really good look at the damage from the air. Take a look at some video that we got a little bit earlier today. Carroll County firefighters got to the scene here a little after 2 a.m. where they found the residence here on Daniel Road fully engulfed in flames. A 72-year-old man got out on his own and took shelter with neighbors. But firefighters say a second person was still inside. Fire crews got the blaze under control in about 30 minutes, but fire officials tell us they located a 66-year-old woman inside the house who was pronounced dead on scene. Now, medics rushed the man to Grady for possible smoke inhalation, where we understand he's still being treated. Now, we talked to a neighbor earlier today. She didn't know the people who lived at this house, but she says she saw the flames and got her family to safety.
A text message or a phone call, from my sister-in-law who lives back there at like 2:11, saying, hey, there's a fire right behind your house. You need to get out of your house, get the kids out of the house, get the animals, all that, just in case. We just called 911, and it's getting close. So just for safety, just in case, go ahead and get out of the house. So we got out of the house, got the kids out of the house, went back in for whatever we might need, and then we realized how close it actually was. I mean, you could feel the heat from the back porch, and we took the kids down there to their house just further away from the possible danger, and I mean, that was at 2:11, and the firemen were still working on it at 4:30. I mean, it was still like flaring up. Every once in a while they would stop spraying and then it would flare up again. So it took a long time for them to get, everything under control completely, and they weren't out of here until almost 7 o'clock this morning. So, and then investigation and all of that coming. But definitely, I mean, it's nothing but God. I mean, we had embers falling on our house and on our cars and on our trees and everything. And I mean, at one point I ran up there and talked to the police and firemen, and I was like, of course I'm in tears, afraid that my house is about to burn. But they said, if you have a water hose, start spraying. And so we did a little bit, and thankfully we have a metal roof. But if we had shingles, I'm sure that would have made it a little more able to catch fire. But yeah, I mean, with all of the trees around and everything, I mean, we were walking around this morning and there's just ashes that have fallen. That's insane. And all I can do is keep saying thank you, God, that you kept me and my family safe. And I feel horrible for them.
You're investigating. Right now, officials have not yet released the name of the woman killed in this blaze or the man receiving treatment at the hospital. Carroll County Fire Rescue is also still investigating the exact cause of this fire. Tom?
Devastating is the right word for it, Kim, especially when you look at what's left of that house, which is basically nothing. All you see is a foundation there, so it must have been a raging inferno that consumed it. This is happening on Daniel Road, and I'm just trying to get perspective of where you are. You're west of the city and just south of I-20, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And this is a little bit more of a rural area where we are at the moment. There's a couple mobile homes just to the left of us here, but this home is pretty isolated. There's not too many houses in the direct vicinity of it. But of course, that one neighbor that we talked to did see some of these embers fly over to her yard, and she's just really grateful that her house is okay after all
Yeah,
this.
you're surrounded by a lot of brush there and shrubbery. Thank God we've gotten a lot of rain, so probably prevented that fire from spreading given the extent of the damage to that home. Kim Luffler live for us in Villa Rica with the aftermath of that deadly inferno. Kim, thanks. Want to take you to Washington, D.C. now, where President Trump has been holding a cabinet meeting really for the past couple of hours now. He's spoken to the press, topics running the gamut, as they always do at these cabinet meetings. He's gone round the table talking to cabinet members, talked about the safety initiative happening in Washington, D.C. You can see the press corps is assembled there, the vice president there, and the lower left-hand portion of the screen. Something interesting happened during that cabinet meeting. My producer Ariel and I were sitting there listening to it when the Attorney General Pam Bondi spoke. You know, we're headed into Labor Day weekend about the dangers of kids being out and about, and this happens, you know, getting substances or pills from somebody or someone, and the dangers of kids trusting that person and the fatal consequences of perhaps taking that pill from somebody that they may not know. Listen to the interesting comments the Attorney General made during the cabinet meeting.
Yesterday, there was a big win. El Mayo pled guilty, and he was the co-founder of Sinaloa cartel with El Chapo. And there's even a Narcos Netflix series about these guys. Well, now we know the ending. He's going to die in an American prison. They are one of the worst, El Chapo and El Mayo, some of the worst narco traffickers in our world. And he will spend life in prison now. And that's so important because those guys and others throughout this country, throughout this world, have brought into our country drugs, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, methamphetamines that's killing our kids. And we have to stop that. And that's what you've been doing not only in DC, but around the country at your leadership. And over the weekend, parents need to know, with kids out of school, with people out on our highways and on our waters, do not take a pill from anyone you know, don't know. Do not buy anything on the street. It could be laced with something toxic. We've seen so many fentanyl overdoses. And when you were here in DC, we showed you pictures of some of the drugs that had been seized right here in DC. President, they were packaged for children. Packaged for children. And people are dying from these around our country. So thank you, President Trump, for your leadership and for letting Americans know that it's now a safe place to go. But parents also have to know, college kids have to know, to be vigilant and not take this trash. Because you could be thinking you're taking a Xanax, an Adderall, anything, and it could be laced with something very lethal.
It's Attorney General Pam Bondi there talking about the critical subject of fentanyl-laced drugs that are running rampant through our country and the potentially fatal effects they can have on our children who are by nature trusting, you know, anywhere from middle school into high school and beyond. taking something from a friend, the friend doesn't know where it came from, and it having fatal consequences. So that reminder from the Attorney General as we head into the Labor Day weekend, also talking about the big arrest of El Chapo happening not too long ago and being processed through the U.S. legal system. That was President Trump's 7th cabinet meeting of his second term, and they can oftentimes last hours, which in this case is actually happening as we head into the long weekend. We have breaking news from the world of entertainment, which you have perhaps heard of already. Take a look at this. Taylor Swift, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce announcing their engagement on Instagram today. Within the past couple of hours, the announcement made on their page with the caption reading, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." I don't know what that means, but I'm sure there's a meaning behind it. The post included photos of Kelce proposing and a shot of the massive engagement ring that she's wearing. They made the relationship public back in 2023 with Kelce attending one of Taylor Swift's concerts on the Eras Tour. Ever since then, you'll often see Swift at some of his football games watching. And now this announcement. So she's releasing a new album soon. And then they're going to get married. So Taylor Swift fans are rejoicing at the announcement of an engagement today. We'll continue to stay on top of that story for you as well. All right, we're going to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy coming up after the break. The Labor Day weekend is upon us. In the meantime, we're enjoying some beautiful fall-like weather out there in the middle of August. How about that? We'll be right back. Welcome back on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks so much for streaming with us today here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. If you are listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2, welcome in as well. We want to talk about our weather, something that's been absolutely delightful this week. A beautiful surprise, a little preview of fall. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy tracking not only the cooler temps out there, Jonathan, it was chilly this morning, but the lower humidity, everything is sort of co-conspiring to give us this beautiful week this week.
Don't you love how the atmosphere at once wants to work together to give us something that pretty much everybody wants everywhere, no matter where you go? lower dew points, slightly lower temperatures, crisp in the morning, very cool during the day, especially when you consider our seasonable norms, which puts us in the high 80s. They were denied once again today as cooler air continues to move in from the north. That northern air producing some pretty cool temperatures by morning, but it looks like tomorrow morning is when we're going to really feel the brunt of the below average temperatures across the area. So as we take a look at the big picture, this cooler regime is definitely in place, and it's going to basically lay hold for the remainder of the week into the holiday weekend. So if you like the crisp mornings, get used to it, but I think tomorrow morning is going to be the one that really takes the cake. Near record-breaking lows for Wednesday morning as the temperatures area-wide, even here in the metro, drop down to the 50s, a place we haven't been since late May. So let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. As you wake up on a Wednesday morning, you'll find it easy to get over the hump. Low dew points out there and pretty low temperatures for this time of the year. 59 degrees in Atlanta, go up 400. You'll find temperatures around 58 degrees as you make your way into Laverne there. Coming down south, you'll find temperatures around 58 degrees from South Fulton. For those of you in Fayetteville, 58 degrees when you wake up on a Wednesday morning. But it's up north that the temperatures will really stand out. I'll be watching closely to see if any of our ridges, especially those ridges that face the north, end up with some temperatures that are in the upper 40s. I see a 50-degree reading there for tomorrow morning in Blairsville, go up to 51 there in Blue Ridge, come down to Gainesville. You'll be denied the 60s to start your morning as well. You'll start out around 59 degrees. Go out to the north and to the west here, you'll find temperatures around 54 degrees in Dallas, 53 in Buchanan there, 56 as you make your way up I-75 into Dalton. Out east, the numbers will be pulling around 60 degrees. That's where our challenge will be felt the most once again as we wake up on a Wednesday morning. Cool air even seeping down I-85, I-75 here, but I-85, as you look there in the distance, 57 degrees when you wake up on tomorrow morning. So overall, this is what we're going to do for your Wednesday morning. The average low for this time of the year is 71 degrees. 70s, well, you're going to have to wait on those. Those are coming, but they're not going to come fast exactly. So that said, we're going to continue to enjoy this cool pattern, and if you like it, I got more of what you likely love at this point. Over the next 6 to 10 days, this cool pattern is going to stake out on either side of the Mississippi River, on either side of the Mason-Dixon line, and we'll likely continue this trend of cooler than average temperatures right on through the first part of the month of September. So when we take a look at your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast here, tonight the record currently stands at 57 degrees, and that record was set back during the 19th century in the 1800s. I did not pull out the calculator to do the math, but this is literally 100 years old record. So we will be watching the METARs out at Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International tomorrow morning very closely to see if we perhaps tie a record that is centuries old or maybe even possibly break a record. Once again, the Fox 5 Storm Team is going with 59 degrees. That record currently stands at 57 degrees. By Thursday, we won't be able to drop so dramatically. That's why you see a picking up of the temperatures to start out in the 60s, mid 60s for the morning. Clouds will be in place, and those clouds will be a common occurrence right on through the holiday weekend. And from those clouds, there will be times that we will have a passing shower or two. But I don't really want you to factor in rain in terms of your weekend. If there's a priority list of weather items for the weekend, Tom, think about this. Cooler temperatures,
Okay.
relatively comfortable dew points. They will eke up a bit, but nothing unbearable. And then bring in the rain. So it's like tertiary. It's number 3 when you consider your weekend altogether weather-wise. The rain, not a big deal at this point. However, we will keep those rain chances between 20 and 30% right on through Monday.
All right, looking forward to the long weekend and going to continue to enjoy this beautiful, spectacular, not enough adjectives to describe the weather we're having this week. Jonathan, thanks. All right, now on to a noble effort that we want to talk to you about this afternoon, where Tunnel to Towers, it's a foundation that you might have heard advertised on TV to donate. Well, if you have donated, your money is going to a good cause because they're opening housing here for homeless veterans. And our Chris Rosenthal is there. It's called, Chris, the Atlanta Veterans Village. This is the first of its kind in our area.
Yeah, absolutely. Tunnels for Towers has set some of these up across the country and many more to come, but this is the first and only one in the metro Atlanta area, in Austell to be exact. This actually was a hotel. I'm going to flip my camera around. This was a hotel, but they have turned it into housing. About 103 rooms, ready for about 88 or so veterans. And they got some really nice rooms here. These are some nice reading rooms they have set up and other facilities. And I'm joined by Brad Blakeman here. He is
Welcome.
with Tunnels for Towers. And tell me a little bit about this facility that you have here.
Well, we're making history right here in Austell, Georgia. This is our Veterans Village for homeless and at-risk veterans. It's transitional as well as permanent housing. And everything they could ever want or need, we provide for them: comfort and dignity in housing and wraparound services on site. And we have the ability also to take them to their medical appointments. But this is basically their home.
And this can be, you were telling me earlier, this can be temporary, or it can be long-term, whatever's needed.
Correct. We take the veteran as they are subjectively. We have a criteria for each veteran that is housed here, and we work in close participation with the VA as well as the housing authority, local and state and federal.
Is there a cost for them?
Yes, we operate with a HUD voucher, which is never more than 30% of their income. But if they don't have an income, we certainly offset those costs by our donations.
A lot of veterans have different needs, maybe health needs, finding job needs. What sort of programs, this isn't just about giving them a bed, but there are programs here. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely, whether it's PTSD, healthcare, alcohol abuse, job training, getting the resume in shape. We have on-site clinicians as well as the ability to take them to the VA or other healthcare facilities to make sure that everything that they could possibly need or want is taken care of.
Let's go take a look at some of the facilities. We're going to go down the hall here. This was, like I said, this was a hotel.
Yes.
And so the rooms where the where the veterans will be staying, they're hotel rooms, but they're converted into homes here.
Correct. This was the before picture. Mm-hmm. So this was a Wyndham hotel, obviously in not the best of shape. We came in over the last 12 months and totally rehabbed this hotel and made it the comfortable space you see here. Everything they could want in living conditions and in furnishings is provided for them at no cost to them. Mm-hmm. And these rooms are as nice as you or I would live in. And that's our standard. If we wouldn't live here, we're not putting anybody else here. And this is really, as I said before, a model for our nation on how to care for our heroes who did so much for us. Now we're giving back to them and saying thank you. And we're hoping that they can heal and return to the community. And those who are older vets, this may be their last days. It'll be spent in comfort and dignity amongst their peers.
88 veterans here?
88 veterans at this site. We have sites all over the country. We have 16 in the works now. We are going where the need is greatest first. We're in West LA, we're in Riverside, California, we're in Houston, we're in Phoenix, and now we're in Atlanta, soon to be in Florida and elsewhere.
Two things: if somebody is a veteran and wants to be part of this, what would they need to do?
Go to t2t.org, contact our National Case Management Network, which is available to them, either phone call, email, visit our site, leave a message. We'll get right on it. And right now, we have a waiting list in most of our properties, but that's not to say we stop there. Our national case managers will make sure they get the help they need beyond the properties we have.
And also, I'm just going to pan around here while we talk some more, but also, there's another room over here, I guess. Right?
Yes, this is the business center. So there are computers here, copy machine. They'll be able to work on resumes, work on job opportunities. The computers are going to be available 24/7, and all our facilities are manned 24/7 with security as well as personnel.
Gotcha.
So,
and it's split up men and women by floor.
Correct, and that's the security. The women have a key fob to make sure that the floors are secure.
And also, this does cost money. You guys take donations, right?
We do. If you go to t2t.org, Our national campaign's $11 a month, and we have literally millions of Americans who support us because they see the value in their donation by the heroes we help.
Brad Blakeman, thank you for giving me the tour here.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Tom. This is the Veterans Village here in Austell. They're getting ready to do a grand opening.
It's a great resource. It's
in about a month.
In Austell, right, Chris?
In about a month, they'll be welcoming these people. It's in Austell, yeah. And in about a month, they'll be welcoming these veterans in. So.
And the important info on where to donate, t2t.org, if you want to step up and help homeless veterans. A great resource and place for them to go, opening in about a month. Chris Rosenthal live for us there where the celebration is on for this great new place for our veterans. Chris, thanks. As we head to break, when the news breaks, we bring it to you. President Trump reacting to the Taylor Swift engagement, saying, I wish him, Travis Kelce, a lot of luck. Trump responded, I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy. And I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck. That from President Trump, who's in a cabinet meeting right now. One of the reporters asked him about reaction to the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce engagement. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. hour. Thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local, where we are always on. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, where we've covered a lot of ground already so far today. If you live here in our area, or even if you don't, you might have been to the Dogwood Festival. You've certainly heard about it. It happens in the springtime at Piedmont Park. It attracts vendors and visitors to celebrate the blooming of the many dogwoods out there and the changing of the season. It's beautiful, but the 90-year-old festival is at risk now due to major funding issues, which actually started back during COVID when they had to shut down one year. This is Executive Director Brian Hill. He's here with us. Brian, first of all, tell us a little bit more about the Dogwood Festival, what it is, and how important it is to our area.
Well, the Dogwood Festival, it's a multi-generational festival. Oftentimes I hear people say, well, my grandfather took my father to the festival. My dad brought me, and now I'm bringing my kids to the event. And it goes back that long. It's got that deep history. I mean, it was in Atlanta before Gone with the Wind, the movie, or the book. So it goes way back, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president when the festival started. So that's how deeply entrenched we are in the history of Atlanta. And it's one of the strongest and most beloved elements of the cultural tapestry that makes up our great city.
So what is, I'm reading up on what the situation is with the festival right now. You're, am I correct in saying this? A couple $100,000 short of where you need to be?
Right. Yeah. It's been tough since COVID. There's been a lot of changes. And overall, I think people understand that prices have been rising, but it's about 25 to 30% more than what it was before COVID. Our expenses, labor costs, everything to do with the infrastructure, security, police, everything that it takes to put on a safe, quality festival of this size have gone up in price. And at the same time, marketers have seen that they turned to digital marketing during COVID, and they saw some results out of that. So when the live events started up, they didn't all come back to sponsorship. Their money was now divided between two separate platforms. And that's been a hard thing for not only us to recover from, but for festivals all across the United States and Canada. We've all been experiencing a lot of the same challenges.
Can you get, does the city, number one, step up and help fund this event? Because it's almost part of the fabric of Atlanta, this Dogwood Festival. And if not, or even if they do, but they're not ponying up enough, how are you going about raising money for the festival?
Well, we've always been independent. We've never gotten support. It's always been our 501c3 and a lot of really dedicated board members and volunteers and people that have worked to make the festival possible. We only have 2 employees for the event, and I'm happy to say I'm talking to the mayor's office, and we're discussing ways that they may be able to support us, and we can look at other possibilities, because I think it's important to them as well to keep this as a strong cultural element, to bring people to Atlanta and also have them leave with great impressions of what this city's capable of.
Yeah, you've been going 90 years, as you mentioned. You're almost undefeated, except for that 1 year during COVID. But has the festival ever faced such funding issues in the past?
Well, no, we used to operate with quite a reserve that we had built up over the years, and we owned our own office space as well. But when COVID hit, we had to do everything to keep viable, including put 2 festivals on within 6 months in August after COVID, and then again in April. And that was to fulfill some of the requirements we had with our sponsors and to help vendors, especially artists that have been inside and had no source of income. We felt that's what we needed to do for our vendors, our artists, and our audience as well, for the city of Atlanta, to bring them out of the doldrums.
Yeah, I mean, it is a celebratory event. It's a beautiful event. If you've been down to the park and seen all the dogwoods, it's something where local businesses can come out and sell their crafts or their food and advertise themselves. Good for business, good for people. It's just good all around. Number one, are you optimistic that you're going to reach your fundraising goal? And then if I want to donate, how do I do that?
Well, actually, I'm very optimistic because I believe in the people of Atlanta. I believe in the businesses that call Atlanta home. And I think when push comes to shove, they're going to rally to save this festival. Um, they saved the Fox years ago. It's time to save the Atlanta Dogwood Festival. And all people want to do on a personal level, if they'd like to support the festival, they can go on to dogwood.org. And we have the ability on our front page for people to donate. And that's been really active today. And the response has been very good because it's obvious that people want this festival to stay. They value it. And the artists and the vendors and everybody rely on it. So we're going to do everything possible to keep this festival going.
All right, we know that your heart and soul are into it. Brian, the executive director of the Atlanta Dogwood Festival, and in urgent need of some fundraising. I wrote it down, dogwood.org, if you want to step up and donate to keep this Atlanta staple alive, which I'm confident it will be. Brian, thanks so much.
And thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Of course. Moving on this afternoon, talk about a celebratory event. Residents of the Cascade Road area breathing a huge sigh of relief today. There's a huge roadway that connects the community and the Cascade Heights businesses. And it's been down for a while under repair, repaving. It's finally reopening, and it's really important to the folks down in that area. The Atlanta mayor was there to celebrate this reopening, and so was our Angelique Proctor, who joins us now live. It was an around-the-clock construction project, we understand, Angelique.
That is right. I was just talking to the commissioner earlier today. He told me that they went 24 hours around the clock from about 2 weeks here, and they finally finished this project on August the 20th, where we could reopen the streets here on Cascade Road, both at I-20 and at the West End. And I've been talking to business owners all day today, and they tell me that they have noticed a significant difference. And so everybody here is elated. The big party, though, Tom, will actually be tomorrow night. Now, let's take a look. The Atlanta DOT commissioner actually talked exclusively with Fox 5 today about what's been going on here. He describes Cascade Road as the lifeline of Southwest Atlanta. It is a major corridor that has a lot of businesses going up and down the street. Now, Cascade Complete Streets, with a $33 million project, it was designed to improve the roadway and to reduce speeds. But in the midst of all the construction and the delays, the project actually ended up hurting a lot of the businesses up and down Cascade Road. I want you to listen now as the DOT commissioner gives us the backstory.
We installed detours to address some of the stormwater issues that were identified during the design, and those went in place, and there was what the businesses considered a impediment given the detour to direct access into the Cascade Heights community. We spoke with the businesses to try to identify how we can minimize those inconveniences to the community, but also try to accelerate completion of the work so that we could reopen. And as of last Wednesday, August 20th, we had a reopened Cascade roadway in both directions.
And dozens of businesses up and down Cascade Road really took a financial hit during this.
All right, it happens. Audio troubles with Angelique Proctor down on Cascade Road, previewing the opening. Angelique, I'm going to try you one more time. Can you hear me? All right, I don't know why we don't have your mic, so we'll let you get to the bottom of that and check back in with you. Angelique Proctor down in the Cascade Road area. Angelique told us that the official reopening is actually going to happen tomorrow. And the mayor is expected to be there. We heard from the Atlanta Transportation Commissioner there celebrating this effort after businesses in the Cascade Road area had suffered for so long because of the disrepair of that roadway. So residents and business owners and so many people that frequent that heavily trafficked area are so happy that it's finally about to reopen after tireless work went into getting it done. As Angelique said, working both day and night to open this. So very, very important to that local economy and it looks like it's about to happen. Lots still ahead for you this afternoon. It's a quarter to the hour right now, and we're not done with our coverage here on Fox Local. Want you to stick around, and when we come back, a couple of other stories. Going to check back in on the happenings in Washington, D.C., and our own weather. We're setting some records, and meteorologist Alex Forbes is the guy to talk about weather record setting. He's going to join us on the other side of this break, so don't go away. Welcome back. Thanks so much for streaming with us this afternoon here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Our helicopter just arrived over a scene in Riverdale. Want to show you what's happening. This is the parking lot of a Walmart where there are reports that a car has struck the side of that building. You can see fire rescue there on the scene. The 7,000 block of Georgia Highway 85 in Riverdale. It's a very large structure there. You can see customers' cars there still in the parking lot. There is movement around there. We don't appear to have information yet on injuries being reported. The car, we understand, was just put onto a wrecker and moved out of there. Sometimes on these buildings, there's huge concrete columns that prevent vehicles from getting anywhere near the entrance of a building. I don't see them in front of this Walmart. Maybe they're there and the fire truck is just blocking them. But again, this happening in Riverdale. Skyfox 5 live over the scene where fire rescue has responded to a car. What we know now is that it apparently struck an area where shopping carts were stored. Look at the damage there. I don't know if we can, first of all, if Chopper can even hear me, but if we can zoom in closer to the damage that is done to that building. Looks like it was pretty significant. How or why this happened, that information is still outstanding. But as we learn more, of course, we'll bring it to you here in the 3 p.m. hour. And of course, coming up next and all new on Fox 5 News at 4, which you'll see streaming here on Fox Local. All right. If you're like me, you've been loving this weather outside. It feels like spring already, and we're not even done with August yet. Records are being set, and the kind of records we like. Meteorologist Alex Forbes is in Cartersville for us this afternoon. Alex, I always love talking to you about hurricanes and record setting because you have this encyclopedic knowledge of all things weather. Talk to us about the weather we're experiencing right now. We don't have any complaints about it. but some of the records that are being set in the mornings.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got a record in jeopardy tonight. We didn't really get into record-breaking territory this morning. It was cool, don't get me wrong. But in Atlanta, officially at Hartsfield-Jackson, we hit 63. The record for this morning was down in the 50s. So we came close, within 5 or 6 degrees, but we did not necessarily break that record. But as we work our way into tonight, I am forecasting to come pretty close to a record that was set back in 1879. Now, Tom, we began keeping records in Atlanta officially in 1878. So this is one of our oldest records that we have. 57 degrees is the coolest it's gotten on tomorrow's date ever, and we're forecasting a low temperature of 59. So as of right now, not forecasting to break it, but forecasting to come pretty close to it. But that puts us in the territory, and it really tells the story. We're not usually this cool in the mornings this late in August. This is more of an end of September type of thing rather than an end of August type of thing. The afternoons, though, I can tell you what, it's warm here in the direct sunlight, but with the breeze, it does feel kind of nice.
And Alex, you know, while we're enjoying this weather, it is still summer. I don't know how long summer officially lasts, but have we kind of broken the days of that high humidity and just hot and stifling temperatures out there?
Well, so I think two things. One, you just cracked open an age-old argument between meteorologists and astronomers. If you ask a meteorologist, fall officially begins September 1st. That's how we basically chunk out the data to keep track of the different seasons. So fall is September, October, November. So the meteorologists say September 1st. Now, the astronomers, they can't get their mind together. They jostle back between dates. It's actually related to the orientation of the Earth. But this year, fall officially begins, astronomically speaking, on September 22nd. Now, in terms of the humidity, we've been calling this a fake fall, right? This is not normal. We should not be this cool for this time of year. But, Tom, to be completely honest with you, I'm looking at some of the longer range stuff, and I'm not finding mid-90s. I'm not finding low 90s, at least over the next 2 weeks here. So I would say this. I think we've probably turned a corner, but I don't think we've started walking the other direction just yet. That's probably a good way to put it.
And is this a foretelling of what we can expect this winter? In other words, it's getting, you know, cooler so earlier in the season. Is it going to be a cooler than usual winter, or we just don't know?
No, I think it's a little too early to get that far ahead. Look, I would say this. I know everybody asks the age-old question of, well, is it going to be a cold winter, or are we going to get snow this winter, and so forth. You can have, you know, say you have a warm winter, you can still have some pretty cold spells during that winter, and then that makes you think it was a cooler winter. On the flip side, you could have a pretty cool winter, but see no snow, and that might make you think it was a warm winter. So, look, I would say this. The typical expectation is we're going to see a pretty significant cool down, especially here over the Burr months, September, October, November. It's just a question of how cool we end up getting by December.
And, of course, we're all waiting for the setback of the clocks. You and I were talking about that, but that doesn't happen really until October, right?
Until November. I believe it's the second week of November. Now, that was a change, I think, in the past 10-ish years. Yeah. It's always, I remember it, it's always right around the election. You know, we have an election every November.
That's
it's
correct.
Always
You're right.
Right
I remember
before
that.
or right after that.
Yeah. And tell us where you are in Cartersville and what's happening there around you.
Yeah, no, let's do it. We've got my photographer Dave here with me. We are here in Cartersville. Maybe we can show off a couple of things. We got the train station behind us. You see the Cartersville sign there and the nice park here on the other side of it. I tell you what, Tom, I had never been in downtown Cartersville before. I've been in Cartersville, but never to this particular spot. And there's a place over here that's a soda fountain shop that is caught my eye. I think I'm going to go visit here between now and our next hit coming up here on Fox 5 News at 4. But a pretty neat downtown here. I told you earlier in the break, too, it was kind of funny. We had a train come by, and then the train stopped, and we were like, okay, we're going to be good to go. And then the train threw itself in reverse and went back the other way. So I'm waiting for it to come back to see if we'll see another train sighting here.
All right, keep us posted. Alex Forbes with all the info we need to know in terms of our weather, at least, and the train sightings down there in Cartersville. Alex, thanks. Yeah. We'll continue enjoying this awesome weather into the long weekend. We're talking about the cabinet meeting that's taking place right now at the White House. That appears to have wrapped up. President Trump always making headlines during those events, however, as you take a live look there at the White House. They met the day after he ramped up his battle with the Federal Reserve Bank, saying that he's going to fire one of the Federal Reserve governors, Lisa Cook. This after allegations of mortgage fraud. The president's been going to battle with the Federal Reserve for quite some time. Chairman Jerome Powell, who he calls too late when it comes to lowering interest rates. And the president making news today saying it's official that he's going to relieve Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook of her duties. So that was one of the headlines that came out of the president's cabinet meeting today. Also talked about fighting crime in Washington, D.C., and the possibility of moving those efforts on the federal level, at least, when we talk about the National Guard, up to Chicago, where the mayor up there has said no thank you, and so has the governor of that state, J.B. Pritzker. So a lot of people with their opinions on the effectiveness of the presence of law enforcement on the federal level in the District of Columbia. The president and the attorney general touting new numbers saying that murder rates and occurrences of muggings and assaults are way down, almost zero, making the nation's capital yet again a safe place for tourists and residents alike to be. You can see that law enforcement presence there robustly on display in the nation's capital. I want to give you a quick shot of Wall Street, where news of the Federal Reserve governor's firing temporarily affected markets this morning. The Dow Jones was down when the trading day started. Now, looks like stocks have recovered a bit. The Dow Jones Industrial up over 100 points right now. All the indexes up. The NASDAQ Composite Index also up as well. So a busy day in Washington and a busy day on the stock exchange in New York as we approach the Labor Day weekend. And it looks like, as far as we're concerned here, things are looking up for us this Labor Day. No significant rain, so to speak. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacey saying on Saturday and Sunday there's going to be quite a bit of cloud cover, perhaps, but not in the form of any rain showers that might get in the way of any weekend plans that you might have. So a lot going on today. We're going to continue to stay on top of that situation at the Walmart where Skyfox 5 was just hovering over in Riverdale, where that car crashed right into a bunch of shopping carts. That's still unfolding, and we'll get to the bottom of what happened there, in addition to all of the day's other news. So thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local today during the 3 p.m. hour. I'm Tom Haines. We're so glad you joined us here on the stream and on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. The news continues right here next on Fox 5 News at